Winning the heart of an untamed beast tests a knight's mettle like nothing else. I got to admit my weakness for hopeless romance, amorous adventures, all those ladies and damsels in distress. Once I wandered in the woods like a raving madman trying to find true love, but to no avail. Fighting dragons to save a lion, a simple beast in need. Sounds reckless and stupid. Well, that's me. There may be better knights in Avalon, but none more daring than me. I yearn for solace, yet I always seem to find it on the bosom of a damsel. Charging into the fray blind and head first? Is there any other way? I ran with the beasts of the wilderness until I lost myself. I searched high and low for a bride. All I found was bitterness and disappointment. Trying to win the hearts of ladies I widowed is one mistake I always tend to make. I miss the golden age of Avalon, daring adventures, ladies to woo, and feasts all the time. I used to complain that Avalon was becoming boring. I shall never do that again. You want to challenge me to a duel? I don't think so. I prefer to strike from the shadows and disappear without a trace. My fellow knights scowl at my chosen weapon, but once they see my marksmanship, they change their tune. Any damsels who conquered or stole your heart, Mordred? Or are you a man of different tastes? We have a lot in common, Mordred. Diving headfirst into the maelstrom, taking no heed, unafraid. I had a dream, Mordred, where you fought the great serpent alongside with me. I have a flair to land in the strangest adventures, Mordred, but this one clearly wins the day. Let me ask you this, Mordred. If a lion is the patron saint of chivalry, what kind of beast are you? If you are destined to be a king, who shall then be your queen, Mordred? You matched your sword with the Excalibur and dared the once and future king. But would you stand against the wrath of a woman, Mordred? Just keep pretending that you have a plan, Mordred. The less we know, the better. Fret not, Mordred, on how things should have been. Any path we take, adventure awaits. If you were to die today, Mordred, who would weep at your grave? It's a shame, Mordred, that we've never had a chance to fight together yet. We would make a great pair. We have something in common, Mordred. We both prefer to strike without warning. I wish there were as many songs about me as there are about you, Mordred, but without all that hatred.
Some of my fellow knights protected the king with swords. Me, as his cupbearer, decided to defend his life in a different way. I can tell you, anyone who mocks the king's cupbearer has never had a sip of poisoned wine in their life. My faith in God and the work that we do kept me on the right track all my life. I spent all my life in the court, but here began to feel the lure of all those knightly quests I had to miss. When the storm wrought havoc on the island, I returned from the wilderness to see what happened. I am needed here.
I truly miss King Arthur. He was the once and future king, and there will never be another ruler like him. My greatest regret is that I couldn't be at Arthur's side in his last battle. I couldn't even say farewell to my king. Even if I could persuade Mordred to spare Arthur's life, I fear that the king's beyond saving by now. After spending all my life serving in Camelot, first I was truly astonished by the wonders of Avalon. I've never seen anything like this island before. When I prayed to God that he would steer me towards an adventurous life, this wasn't exactly what I had in mind.
Mordred, I know how you felt about me, the cupbearer of the king, but I took no offense. Luckily, I never cared about your opinion. I always suspected that you will try to kill the king one day, Mordred, but I knew that you would not resort to poison. I can sense change in you, Mordred, but I have no idea what will become of you in Avalon. I've become a questing knight in Avalon, Mordred. I suppose I missed all the fun you all had while I was serving in the court. Let me ask you this, Mordred. Were you envious of my confidential relationship to the king?
Let me give you a piece of friendly advice, Mordred. Find your own cupbearer soon. You're not very popular around here. I spent all my life in the court, Mordred, and I know a thing or two about how Arthur ruled his realm. Mordred, never underestimate those who serve the realm with their wits instead of swords. I have joined your cause, Mordred, because I hope that you can save Avalon, but it doesn't mean that I trust you. Mordred, I simply can't imagine you sitting on a throne, abandoning the life of wandering knights. Do you think that Arthur could be saved, Mordred? Is there a way that this ends without you killing him again?
When I broke my ties with the Seelie court, I had to leave everything behind. But I had no other choice. I used to walk the woods and glades of Avalon alone. Now I have companions again. Mankind looks charming through the eyes of the she. To me, at least, you are so simple, so reckless, so straightforward, so exciting. I used to tread the secret pathways of the deep wood that led to other forests in other worlds. It's a shame you cannot do that. Britannia is truly a magical place. It's a pity that you can never return there again. I want you to know that I am your faithful companion now. Do you need me to prove it? I have learned the ways of chivalry from mortal knights and troubadours. Rest assured, I am well prepared. I have been watching humanity from afar for a long time. You fascinate me. I left the Seelie court to get to know the mortals better, and for that I have become a recluse in both worlds. The she could teach mankind to learn to live beyond the mortal realm. Don't you agree? I am trying to live the life of a human knight. I think more Seelie should follow me, but they rejected my idea. Sir Mordred, you are one of those few mortals that even the she must reckon with. Fighting at your side, Sir Mordred, feels like living one of those knightly tales your troubadours are so fond of. Sir Mordred, you are an enigma. We have been watching you for a long time, and we still cannot understand your motivations. You are a legendary hero, Sir Mordred, although not the kind I thought I wanted to be. You are the champion of the Lady of the Lake, Sir Mordred, and that is an honor bestowed on only a chosen few. Sometimes I wonder why you chose to join your round table, Sir Mordred. Sir Mordred, you are slowly becoming one of the legendary warriors of the old faith. But are you prepared for that fate? When you died, Sir Mordred, you became a myth of Avalon. You should know that I feel sorry for you.
Womenfolk, the bane of my existence. When it comes to saving damsels, I'm cursed. For doing the right thing, Lionel, my little brother, tried to kill me, so I offered my neck. That tells a lot about me and my family. Adhering to the knightly code brought me nothing but trouble, but I have no other choice. I made a vow of celibacy to refrain from the temptations of the flesh. I failed. A king's daughter put me under a spell, so I fathered her a child I never wanted to have. I bear many battle scars. Each one is a stark reminder who I really am. Once I was tempted by leering apparitions, demons in human form. They wanted to take my soul, but I stood firm. A knight's greatest virtue is solitude and modesty. Back in Britannia, Lancelot was the best friend I ever had. We were inseparable. Mordred, I see you like a perfect storm that shall lead us to ruin, yet we are all drawn to it, regardless of our beliefs. Humbling your pride would have saved us from a great deal of trouble, Mordred. We are all destined to rise and fall, Mordred, one way or the other. I made a vow of celibacy to live a humble life. You made a vow to revel in flesh and blood, Mordred. Sometimes I wonder whether me putting an arrow through your neck would have been the right choice, Mordred. The things we do under your command. Should I be shocked or in awe, Mordred? My brother has sworn to kill me, but in the end, his will faltered. I'm sure you wouldn't hesitate for a heartbeat, Mordred. A woman's thirst for vengeance is far more dangerous than a poisoned blade, Mordred. Never forget that. We all have our demons, Mordred. Not giving in to their temptations is the least a knight can do. I know my curse far too well, Mordred. What's yours?
I am one of the Grail Knights, summoned by a holy vision to find and protect the holy relic, whatever it takes. I saw the wastelands of Avalon, and it was a sight I can't describe. How can you put hell into simple words? My brother Percival and I went on the most glorious quest you can imagine. Only our feverish visions and the prattle of a mad hermit to guide us. It was challenging. People speak well of my marksmanship, which I don't really understand. Anyone can split a small apple with an arrow from afar, right? I know that troubadours only sing about the other Grail Knights, but I don't care. My sacred duty is all that matters. Fame is fickle. I am thankful that I can fight injustice and evil. This is a gift that I shall treasure. I was not a warrior in Britannia, but the Lord had other plans for me in Avalon, and I couldn't be happier about that. I still remember my death. It was a trial by the Lord, no doubt, that I was willing to accept. I was reborn in Avalon with a grim determination that I would not rely on anybody else for protection anymore. I'm quite proficient with a bow. I've never wanted to wield a blade, but when I grab an arrow, I can feel God guiding my hands. I was reborn in Avalon as an expert fighter. You can imagine my surprise when I found out that I stand my ground in battle. I've seen Avalon both in glorious sunshine and in the encroaching shadows. I wish we could scatter these dark clouds again. I've been wandering through Avalon with my brother for a very long time in search for the Holy Grail, and we witnessed many wonders and blood-chilling terrors out there. I'm curious about you, Mordred. You act like a brute, all harsh words and vicious spikes on the armor. But something still made you the greatest knight of the Round Table. God Almighty has a plan for you, Mordred. You might sneer, but your doubts still don't make me wrong. Are you praying for forgiveness, Mordred? All the sins you have committed in Britannia must weigh heavily on your soul. I like that you're not wasting time, Mordred. All that planning before a fight. I know that it's useful, but I'd rather charge headlong into the battles. God must have a reason to arrange that our pathways crossed, Mordred. That's the reason I joined forces with you. Most knights are only familiar with the territories around Camelot, but believe me, Mordred, Avalon always had its dark corners. Sometimes I have visionary dreams that guide me. What about you, Mordred? You surely not remember me from Britannia, Mordred. I was not a warrior back then. Do you think, Mordred, that one day you could atone for your sins? Do you even care? I suspect that you're not a really good bowman, Mordred, but believe me, in capable hands, it's a match to blades. Have you ever thought about searching for the Holy Grail, Mordred? Have you ever been visited by an angel of the Lord, Mordred? I think I was. It was frightening.
I fostered the young King Arthur and fathered the finest knight of the Round Table. I served Camelot all my life and beyond. Only the realm matters. People are servants to the idea of the kingdom. Without chivalry and faithful knights who are willing to sacrifice themselves, Avalon is doomed. I have fought countless battles, never wavering, and I hope that the Lord will forgive me for all the blood I've shed. I have a recurring dream. I teach strangers the ways of chivalry, over and over again. I'm ready to sacrifice everything, even the lives of the innocent to save Avalon. But is it still worth saving? In these troubled times, the Lord should be the one who guides our steps. I devoted my life here to the arcane, only to find more questions than answers. The once and future king is dead, and nothing shall ever be the same. I pray every day to the Lord, and hope that he hears my voice, even if I am trapped in this otherworldly realm. Killing Arthur is something that had to be done, I know. Still, he was my foster son, and I will never forget that. Mordred, you committed heinous acts of evil. I believe that we must be relentless, but you make me feel sick sometimes. Mordred, I see that empty shell of yours, and I wonder if there is any shred of chivalry left in you. With the thrust of a spear, you destroyed a kingdom. Only the Lord can absolve you from that deed. I raised Arthur like my own flesh and blood, and I saw him choose a path I never wanted to tread. Mordred, do you have anything to offer for this kingdom, other than pain and suffering? Pray to the Lord for forgiveness, Mordred. Pray, and he might show you the way. Fate has a cruel sense of humor, Mordred. We fight as one, yet we are supposed to be sworn enemies. When I look at you, Mordred, I should fume with anger, but all I feel is emptiness and pity. Who would have thought that one day Sir Mordred, the traitor, could be Avalon's savior?
You still don't understand the true nature of the Grail. The Grail is an idea, not a battered cup or a magical cauldron. When I arrived here, I was expecting heaven. At first I was disappointed, but then I saw that as an opportunity to make my dream come true. Avalon could still become our paradise, but you need faith and strength to achieve that glorious goal. I am a Grail Knight, and I always will be. I shall put the fear of light into the hearts of all wicked beasts. As I am walking through the Valley of Shadows, my faith keeps me going, and the Lord provides my protection. I always fought with holy rage and heavenly fire. That never changed and never will. If you are ever lost in the darkness, follow my light. Make no mistake, I will protect you at all costs, but I will not fight in your stead. I didn't want to be a part of any brotherhood in Avalon. I wandered away to the wilderness on my own. And yet, here I am now. I will fight anyone who stands in the way of me fulfilling my glorious destiny, even the angels of the Lord. Out in Wastelands, I had a moment of madness. I'd seen so many battles and death that I forgot what I was fighting for. We used to be much alike, Mordred, with all the fire and rage inside of us. I have changed, Mordred, and now I am witnessing your transformation. Avalon is truly a place of miracles. You know, Mordred, I won't reject the man I used to be. I still have too much of the old Galahad in me for that. In Britannia, we were ferocious enemies. And look at us now. The Lord moves in mysterious ways. Consider this, Mordred. If you were brought here personally by the Lady of the Lake, was she also an instrument of God? My strength always came from my faith, Mordred. Where does your strength come from? See, Mordred, I used to see myself as the champion who would destroy the old faith. Pride was my greatest sin. The Galahad you knew is gone, Mordred. My vision is as strong as ever, but my long quest burned away my fury. Mordred, it must be hard to accept that the Grail was never meant to be your weapon, but that is how it must be. I was hesitant to join your round table, Mordred, but this war is just the beginning. I saw it. Avalon needs me. You need me. Mordred, I wanted to turn Avalon into paradise by sheer force. Don't commit the same mistake.
I've long been wandering in Avalon, and yet each path I take seems to lead to unexplored areas. Tread carefully here. Avalon is an ancient realm, filled with dangers and secrets we were not meant to see. I used to envy the knights of the Round Table for their glorious adventures. As their queen, I was chained to the court by tradition. But in Avalon, I am free. In Britannia, my Seelie heritage was a curse. Here in Avalon, it is a gift. In Britannia, there were always rumours about my Sidhe heritage, but no one dared to accuse me, the Queen of Camelot. And here, it doesn't matter. I don't miss being a queen, but I do miss spending time with my Arthur. We loved each other very much, despite our difficulties. I had to accept that my Arthur is gone. It took a long while before I came to terms with his absence. We were meant for each other since the moment I laid eyes on him. I know that when I talk about Arthur, you are thinking of Lancelot. It doesn't matter. We all make mistakes. I've certainly made my fair share of them. I know what you are thinking. How does a queen become an Arcanist? You forget that I was born in the Sidhe woods. Magic is second nature to me, but I had to deny it in the court. You seem surprised by my arcane knowledge. I understand that. I've always had my powers, but I had to hide them in the mortal realm. You are probably thinking that I made the wrong choice when I gave up my crown here. But do you really think Avalon needs another queen? I grew up on the tales of Avalon. When I came here, I wondered if there were fairy glades or dragons, but sadly it's mostly just mud and bones, just like Britannia. I've been wondering, Mordred, are you truly trying to mend your ways in Avalon, or is this just a ploy? Tell me this, Mordred. Did you have a plan in Britannia when you moved against Arthur? Or was it just your appetite for destruction? I still remember the Battle of Camlan, Mordred, the day I died. Do you remember how you killed me? Mordred, when you marched against Arthur in Britannia, you told your followers that Camelot needed to be reborn. Is this your fresh start, then, in Avalon? Let me be honest with you, Mordred. I will work with you, but I don't trust you. If you had ever wanted to earn my trust, not killing me would have been a good start. Have you ever thought about our current situation, Mordred? We used to be dire enemies, and now we are fighting for the same goal. Avalon truly is a land of fables. Tell me, Mordred, why do you want the throne of Avalon? Camelot eats its kings alive, wherever it is. Trust me, I would know. So, you were brought here by the Lady of the Lake, Mordred. Has she ever told you why she chose you of all the dead knights in Britannia? And if she has, did you believe her? What's your title now, Mordred? Are you claiming to be the Warden of Camelot? The lady's hero? Because you won't fool me. You will never bow to anyone. Sometimes I look at you, Mordred, and I wonder, did death really change you? Or are you just playing the long game for your devious purposes? The thing is, Mordred, after all this time in Avalon, my hatred for you waned a little, but you are working really hard to stir up my anger again. I wish the Lady of the Lake had come to me for help, Mordred. Instead, she chose you as her champion, and I admit that it hurts.
I was a knight of the Round Table, and will be one until I cease to exist. As a former seneschal of the king, I carry on my duties here in Avalon, in his absence. I find nothing more disgraceful than knights gathering brigands and killing the innocent. Avalon is covered by darkness. There's an evil taint seeping in from the hidden corners of the land. This war I'm waging here sometimes feels like a lost cause, but I must prevail. I miss Britannia, where we had proper good and evil. Here we only have evil and worse. I always thought that Camelot needed King Arthur to survive. But now I'm not so certain, and that frightens me. I don't really know what to make of these changes in Avalon, and I don't like uncertainty. Whenever I feel the weight of despair, I think of these struggles as knightly trials that will make me stronger. Arthur must be saved and Avalon must be rebuilt. This is what I care about the most. King Arthur is out there somewhere. This is what we need to focus on. I wish I could have been at the king's side in his last battle. Maybe we could have turned the tide. The peaceful time in Avalon was a fleeting dream. Now I can see that, but it's hard to accept. Believe me, Mordred, there is something truly wicked shambling beyond the mist of Avalon. I know that you have never taken me seriously, Mordred. I will prove you that you were wrong. It's time you learned, Mordred, that knighthood is not about grand gestures and glorious adventures all the time. I will never forgive you for what you did, Mordred, but maybe you are what this land needs. Who knows? Have you ever wondered if we could have been brothers in Britannia, Mordred? If you hadn't betrayed us all, I mean. I miss the simplicity of the old times, Mordred. When you were our enemy, and we stood against you. Have you wondered, Mordred, what will happen when this is over? To you and to me both. I look at you, Mordred, and don't know what to make of you now. You seem to have changed. It feels strange to be part of your round table, Mordred. Mostly because it's not that different from Arthur's round table, regardless of what you say. In a way, Mordred, this is all your fault. The least you can do is try and make everything right. Mock me all you want, Mordred. I know what I'm fighting for. Do you?
I have walked on pathways where no man has ever trodden, and never will. Time is a shackle that we lost here in Avalon. In return, we became prisoners of the land itself. You keep asking me why I chose to become a simple hermit, and that's the answer. So you and the others would stop pestering me for a while. I wish I could describe to you how I observe the flow of time, but that is impossible, I'm afraid. Don't ever believe that the Lady of the Lake has anything in common with your kind. The Lady is an ancient being, the last of her kind. We are very much alike, she and I. In Britannia, I used to dream about the shores of Avalon. Now, I am here, and I keep dreaming of other islands in this vast broken sea. Sometimes sleep and death feel the same here. Don't you agree? You seem to expect me to solve all your problems with my magic, but it doesn't work that way. Sometimes I live outside the confines of time. It's both a blessing and a curse. This fragile shell I inhabit is how people remember me from my past. Even though I have lived countless lives, I can't remember any of them clearly. That is the price I must pay. When you arrived in Avalon, Mordred, you probably expected me to seek you out, but you were not the man I needed then. I can feel your resentment, Mordred. You think you could have used my powers in the name of Camelot, don't you? See, Mordred, I've known you since you were a squire in Camelot, and you can still surprise me. A word of advice, Mordred. Don't you ever mistake my support for my sympathy. I am immortal, Mordred, and yet I can die. How is that possible? You will soon understand that in Avalon. I am the greatest wizard who ever lived, Mordred, but let me tell you this. In Avalon, even my powers have limits. There was a time in Britannia, Mordred, when I had visions of you taking the place of Arthur. It turns out I saw the truth. I suspect that you saw through my pretense, Mordred, and I appreciate you not telling anyone the truth about that annoying hermit. The reason you are here, Mordred, is simple. That reason is me. No, you do not need to thank me. The lady and I have had our fair share of misunderstandings, Mordred, but one thing we agreed on is that Avalon needed you. Look, Mordred, don't believe everything you hear from the Lady of the Lake. I've learned this the hard way. I wish you had seen Avalon before the storm, Mordred. It used to be the land of dreams, but it has become a realm of nightmares.
I grew up hearing tales of the other world. But Avalon turned out to be something else entirely. I always revered the champions of the old ages. And now I am fighting monsters and demigods just like they did. In case you had any doubts about my powers, you should know that the Lady of the Lake banished me because she saw me as a contender. I'm honored that you are on my side. You are all worthy of the ancient bands of warriors. Avalon is a land of pure magic, my friends, and we should be ready to use that power wisely. During my exile, I wandered in the Shadowlands. And trust me, there are worse other worlds than Avalon. I used to be a servant of the Lady of the Lake, her most trusted enchantress. But alas, she is the jealous kind. I was in exile far away, wandering amongst the shadows. But even I could feel the tremors of the storm. I can feel your hesitation towards me. How disappointing. As a half-fae, I've gotten used to it. But I thought in Avalon that would be over. You must have heard some tall tales about me, I guess. Most of them are probably true. The lady ruled Avalon through her enchantresses. I used to be one of them. I know what she is thinking. You should never trust the Lady of the Lake, my friends. Your only reward will be disappointment. Mordred, I always knew you would end up at my side. You must have a fondness for enchantresses, Mordred. Don't you dare tell me otherwise. Tell me, Mordred, how does it feel to be a champion of the Lady? It was my honor to serve the Lady of the Lake, Mordred, until she decided that I was her enemy. Keep an eye on her. Mordred, we have a lot in common. Our desire to turn Avalon into the bastion of magic, for one. Let me help you. I like you, Sir Mordred. I really do. Avalon needs relentless heroes, like the ones from the old tales. Avalon is a land of untainted magic, Mordred. Can you fathom what we could do with such power? I served the Lady for a very long time, Mordred. I know Avalon and the secrets this place hides. I have the dedication and the power to replace the Lady one day. Is that so impossible? I'm grateful, Mordred. In Britannia, the Knights of Camelot treated me like a fairy witch. But here, you invited me to your round table.
To be the champion of downtrodden is my true calling. I chase glory in the hope of melting a cold heart, only to be cheated and laughed at. What a knight should do when he finds his lady in bed with a friend. I left my sword lying with them. Beauty and cruelty go hand in hand. I found true love through the terrible revenge of an enchantress. The curtain of everlasting midnight is falling upon Avalon. Many of us shall not see daybreak. I've never showed mercy to the ill-doer, and I never will. Anyone could become a better person by uplifting the weak. Winning a tournament for a maiden's hand landed me in a world of misery. The Lady of the Lake is watching over us. I can feel it. Sometimes I hear her whispering to me in my dreams. Whenever I strayed from the path of chivalry, my modest origins landed me back on my feet. I know that they call me superstitious, but I don't care. In Avalon, it's not a weakness, but a wise precaution. Yes, I try to avoid the undead pest. Laugh all you want, but I don't want to become like them. My soul is more important to me than your opinion. Avalon has turned into a nightmarish land of terror and pain, but in a way, it only made my work more important than ever. Mordred, you and I are quite the same. We never let anything or anyone stand in our way. I married a vengeful enchantress. You married revenge, Mordred. When it's all over, will this shadow of the former Mordred vanish without a trace? Some say, while I was protecting Lady Guinevere's honor, you were busy courting her, Mordred. I never cared about glory and fame, Mordred, yet I was drawn to it like a moth to the flame. As you rough your way through everything, Mordred, I can't help watching you in horror and awe. Sitting idle on the throne, burdened by the crown. That's a Mordred I can't imagine. Who shall be the villain in this knightly tale, Mordred? This Avalon cannot be mended, but its fate is still resting on your shoulders, Mordred. For our kind there is no respite, Mordred. We are here to die again the way we lived. Tell me, Mordred, whether it's the foul or the innocent, for your sword it's all the same. I don't fear you, Mordred, but I'm praying every day to not turn into something like you. There is one thing that scares me to my guts, Mordred. What if we just dream to be different from the undead?
In case you were wondering, my title is still the Witch Queen of Orkney, and in the court you should address me as Your Grace. But here, in the middle of nowhere, you are allowed to call me Milady. It pains me that you're so distrustful. I wouldn't hurt my companions. Of course, accidents might happen in battle, but that's life. I couldn't help but noticing your complete lack of manners in my presence. Whatever must a lady do here to be taken seriously? Should I turn someone into a rat? Enough of this aimless wandering. Can we finally leave? I need a proper bed and a good bath. You must be thrilled to have me in your little band. Rest assured, my reputation as the mightiest enchantress is far from exaggerated. You made the right choice by asking for my help. Me and Arthur have a history. A bloody, hateful, violent history. I used to have a palace, an army, and servants attending to my whims. Fate is fickle. What's this nonsense about your new round table, Mordred? You were always a lone wolf. Why change now? You're gathering knights and vassals, Mordred, which is wise, but you should never forget that you are their leader, not their friend. Mordred, you are on a quest, led by revenge and hatred, which is commendable. But have you ever thought about why you were set on this path? When you were a child, Mordred, the best thing I could do for you as my child was to let you go with the gifts I'd given you and see you grow into a powerful warrior. We were both born to rule, Mordred. We both wanted to conquer Britannia, and, well, we both failed eventually, which only makes our ties stronger, doesn't it? I tried to kill Arthur various times, but you, son, you did it. It's a shame that you also died in the end, but now you have a second chance. These people, Mordred, they don't deserve your help. You should demand a steep price for your sacrifice. When I heard that you were here, Mordred, my first reaction was shock. Truly. What is the lady, that ancient double-crossing witch, planning with my son? I thought. Believe me, Mordred, I wanted to seek you out in Avalon, but I had my own resurrection to deal with, and the Picts are a hard tribe to rule, so I needed time. You and I, Mordred, we were not brought to Avalon on that ship. We were summoned here, resurrected for a purpose. We're not like the others. I'm slightly disappointed in you, Mordred. You should have come to me for advice, but you chose a fallen goddess instead. But now I'm here to assist you. We should have had a teary-eyed reunion, Mordred, worthy of the leer of a troubadour. You would have hated it as much as I would. I can hear you whispering behind my back, so let me assure you that I'm not going to hurt any of you. Probably, if you don't give me a reason.
If I see an opportunity, I seize it, regardless of the suffering and the havoc I wreak. Spare none and take all, everything, till they drop dead. I have always been a generous man when it came to dealing death. I expect the same from anyone wielding a blade. The only remorse I've ever felt was over the blood I left unshed. The strong are destined to rule and devour the weak. If they have nothing left to give, take their lives. Whenever you are in doubt, hang a few of them high so the rest can see. The thing called mercy is the treachery of the weak. I spit on your knightly morals. Nothing is to be respected but raw power. I kneel only before those who have bested me in single combat. Then I lie in wait until they show a weakness. Don't you find some of these knights untrustworthy, Mordred? A thinning of the herd is long overdue, if you ask me. Must be hard sitting at the top with all those Christian and pagan dogs lapping at your feet and breathing down your neck, Mordred. If there is killing to be done, heads to be taken, don't hesitate to call for me, Mordred. I shall come running. If I was in your shoes, Mordred, I would never bother to argue with anyone. I'd just tell them what to do, and that'd be all. You can count on me, Mordred. I will just kill anyone who second-guesses your decisions, and you can sleep like a baby. There is always more blood to shed, Mordred. Here in Avalon, even more than in Britannia. Strange. See, Mordred, once we are back in Camelot, a summary execution should liven up the mood and keep the serfs on their toes. For my services, I deserve a far larger share of the plunder than these unworthy bastards, Mordred. Ever wondered how your reign will come to an end, Mordred? By a poisoned chalice? Or with an axe in your back? Next time you run your weapon through a king, Mordred, make sure the bastard is really dead. It would have spared us this headache. Some say we are living in the end times, and Camelot's days are numbered, Mordred. To be honest, I've never felt more alive, more driven to fight.
What an honor to fight alongside such distinguished companions. Thank you, Lord, for putting me in the company of such heroes. There are many rumors about my exile from Castle Corbinic. Some of them are true. I broke my knightly oath then, and it's a heavy burden on my soul. I dedicated my life in Britannia to finding and protecting the Holy Grail. If the Lord sent me to Avalon, clearly, I must continue the same work here. My brothers and sisters fought with zeal and fervor to protect Avalon from the darkness. I used to serve King Pellam. He was a noble Christian king, until Arthur's tainted presence corrupted him. I wish I had known about Arthur's resurrection earlier, and the magic that tore him apart. I knew from the moment of my arrival that the Holy Grail must exist in Avalon. This island is the mirror image of Britannia, but we are not designed to walk the same path here. When I heard about the Night of Midnight, I set out to return to Camelot to fight that beast. Sadly, I was too late. I was lost when I became the protector of the Excalibur. That was the Lord's answer to my prayers. I wandered the wastelands with Lady Dindrain, and believe me, we saw sights even we didn't want to believe. I am a knight of God, but that doesn't mean that I want to fight followers of other gods. I revere Lady Guinevere, even if we hold different beliefs. I became a Grail Knight when I was young, and it defines me to my core, but it's more about the search for truth than the Grail itself. Mordred, your resolve could have made you a Grail Knight. I wish you hadn't turned yourselves into an instrument of destruction. Mordred, you used to think that the Grail is purely an object with tremendous magical power. I hope you have realized by now how wrong you were. I saw visions of you, Mordred. I saw you carried to Avalon on a boat of dark feathers and bleached bones, and it was the most frightening vision I have ever seen. During my travels in the wasteland, Mordred, I found an underground chamber where a terrifying apparition told me about a war that will come to us. Mordred, have you ever thought about the reason we are in Avalon? What is your purpose here? What is mine? I don't mean this as an insult, Mordred, but you have a long way to go if you want us to believe you. Let me ask you this, Mordred. You used to treat your knights as disposable weapons in a war. I wonder if that is still so? If this place is purgatory, Mordred, then it means that we still have a chance of redemption, even you. During the darkest days of Avalon, I prayed to the Lord to send us help.
For a while, I never wanted to become a Knight of the Round Table again. Strangely enough, it was Mordred who gave me a new purpose. I ventured into the darkest corners of Britannia, but I never saw such terrors and wonders as here in Avalon. I fought the beasts and monsters in the dark forest of Britannia, but believe me, even those battles couldn't prepare me for what I found in Avalon. In my younger days, I heard wonderful songs about Avalon. Turns out they were all lies. I am a skilled swordsman and a talented musician. At the jousting tournaments in Camelot, I fought the knights on the field and entertained the ladies in the halls. Deep in my heart, I always knew that I was destined to suffer. When I came to Avalon, all those fears came true. The day I lost Isolde was only the beginning of something even more terrible to come. I know that now. I lost my beloved Isolde in Britannia. When I came to Avalon, I hoped we could be reunited. But fate is a cruel beast, isn't it? I stared into the hellish storm that wrecked Avalon. I didn't know it then, but I felt the change in my bones. I used to sail on the ship that brought the fallen knights to Avalon. I remember all of you. I saw you all dead. The ship that brought us all here sailed through dreams, beyond death, on pallid, silent waters. You are lucky that you were not alive then. The battle we are fighting here is worthy of a dozen songs. Believe me, it is our greatest tale. The priests of the ladies said Isolde was waiting for me in the Summerlands. They said our love made us worthy of peace. They lied. I fought the night of midnight in the haze of the unnatural tempest. Now I know that I never stood a chance alone. Mordred, you always considered me too passionate to be a knight, but you are clearly driven by your hatred. So who is being influenced by his emotions now? Isn't it ironic, Mordred, that we both had to die once to end up on the same side? We used to be enemies, Mordred, and here we are, fighting against the curse of our former king. That would be a nice twist in any troubadour's ballad, wouldn't it? I envy you, Mordred. We both died horribly, but your resurrection was unique and heroic, very much unlike mine. You see, Mordred, when I sailed on the ship that brought our fallen brothers from Britannia, I dearly wished that one day I could take your dead body to Avalon. There was one day, Mordred, when I realized that you would never end up on my ship. You were just gone, and I felt cheated. You have never felt the joy and torture of true love, Mordred, and I pity you for that. Have you ever experienced how much stronger love can be than hate, Mordred? We are both dealing with our deaths in our different ways, Mordred.
I have slain creatures that walked on 2 legs or 4. I have even killed one that had 100. What a hell of an adventure! I never thought I would find companions who are just as reckless as I am. Some say I am crazy. Am I? I've seen things they haven't. I've killed things they couldn't. And yet, they judge me. I am a man of purpose. I fight for it. I die for it. I expect no less from those who call themselves knights. If you need a guide in that accursed Deepwood, I am here. I've sneaked into that hell several times. In case you were wondering why we fight, remember that Avalon is shaped by our deeds. Yes, it is that simple, damn it. The Green Knight was a monster. I learned from him that inhuman creatures will never understand our way of thinking. Sir Gawain, Knight of the Round Table, that has a hell of a ring to it. When I came to Avalon, I learned that the Green Knight was here, hiding in the hell of the Deepwood. And then I had a purpose again. The Green Knight of Avalon is a twisted version of the creature I met in Britannia. And believe me, that one was a nightmare. And I've gained new fame here as a knight dedicated to destroying the monsters lurking in the woods. And I'm fine with that. You were there, Mordred, when I met the Green Knight for the first time. When everything changed for me. I'm not the Gawain you remember, Mordred. I am not the honorable knight you used to laugh at. And I'm also a much better warrior now. It feels good, Mordred. You know that. You had to make a choice, and you chose me. Feels bloody good. I never thought I'd be a knight of the Round Table again, Mordred. Will I regret it? What do you think? Monsters slay people, Mordred, and I slay monsters. So what am I really? A human or a monster? No, don't answer that.
This beautiful island was meant to be a haven for the fallen. Now it is infested by rascals and left to rot. Me and my brother are equals in swordsmanship, but Balin surpasses me in savagery, I'm afraid. I am praying to the old gods every day to release us from this terror. We must set a harsh example for all those who dare to defy the will of Camelot. I know I shouldn't enjoy battling with simple brigands, but I just can't help myself. I am fascinated by Avalon, and I want to do everything in my power to restore this place to its former glory. This island was the gift from the old gods to the brave and rightful, so they can rest here for eternity. It breaks my heart to see this destruction. Our castle was built upon the Bridge of Sorrow. Only it had a different name then. The Bridge of Giants. Our colossal castle was already there when we arrived at Avalon, all empty and mysterious. We've never found out who built that stronghold. We always had our quarrels with my brother Balin, even back in Britannia. He even tried to kill me once. For a while, I threw away my rank and protected the White Castle as a nameless knight. You think that a champion of righteousness is weak, Mordred, and I will prove that you are wrong. I am saddened that we are looting the dead. Is this the madness that comes in the wake of spilling blood? Now that you have claimed Camelot to yourself, Mordred, I truly wonder what kind of ruler you'll turn out to be. I should distrust you, Mordred, but I saw you fight. Your skills are simply too impressive to ignore, and we need you out here. For the sake of the realm, I am willing to accept you, Mordred, as my leader. Are you ready to fight on my side, though? Would you be willing to cast off your name and rank, Mordred, and serve the realm as a nameless knight? Do you have any plans to rebuild Avalon, Mordred? Or are you just enjoying the bloodshed and chaos? I don't envy you for this power, Mordred. It's rather a curse, not a blessing in Avalon. I had my reasons to leave our castle, Mordred, and that was to protect Avalon. If I see you fail the realm, I will leave you as well. I'm uncertain about my future at your round table, Mordred. I still have some concerns.
I lived as a knight-errant, an exile most of my life. A wandering hermit once said that I shall be the greatest knight King Arthur ever had. Oh, the irony. A wench burned my mother, tried to kill me, but I took her head, in front of Arthur's whole court. In this wretched world, I respect nothing but power. Once I was told, I shall be the instrument of my downfall for killing the ones I love the best. I was set upon the rebellious King Ryan's like a dog, so I shook him until he was dead. People avoid the knights of two swords like the plague, yet I'm not a savage, not at all. I was thrown into Camelot's dungeons by King Arthur himself, and now that pompous fool is dead. Me and my brother are the exact opposites. Maybe we are not even of the same womb. Balin kills for glory, I kill because it must be done. Oh, and for power. One time I attacked the White Castle and fought its guardian, a nameless knight who didn't show his face. Turned out it was my brother Balin. We didn't recognize each other. King Arthur once told me he was concerned about my violent temper. He meant it as a warning, but I took it as a compliment. I pulled an accursed sword out of the scabbard, and I became the Knight of Two Swords. I never cared about the curse, honestly. What else could be worse in this forsaken place? I should have joined your cause, Mordred, but I was a fool who ended up in the dungeons of Camelot. Mordred, I truly respect you for facing King Arthur the second time. When I heard of Mordred slaying the once and future king, I cried. Oh, the tears of relief. Tell me, Mordred, are you truly King Arthur's bastard son? Or is it a secret? Mordred, have you ever wondered how my good father got betrayed and killed? I know how it feels to be feared and hated, Mordred. I know it far too well. We are just puppets, Mordred, carved from the same flesh and bone, dancing to the tune of the old gods. When our little adventure is over, will you have anything to live for, Mordred? Could you picture yourself growing old and fat, Mordred? Me neither. If you ever get tired of the crown, Mordred, I shall take good care of it, I promise. We both got struck down by King Arthur, Mordred. I was left to rot in chains, while your corpse was feeding the crows at Camlin. Everyone grovels at your feet, Mordred, but not me. I think I could better you in single combat. With so many enemies out for blood, our kind never sleeps easy, Mordred. Do you respect any of these knights, Mordred, or just laugh at them behind their back?
I am Mordred, nemesis of King Arthur, the dreadful knight of the legends. I am supposed to be dead, and yet here we are. It's all hazy. I battled King Arthur and we both died, and still we both live. I was reborn here on the mystical island of Avalon, a new chapter in a knight's tale. No rest for the wicked, eh? I have a new realm to build, and an old enemy to kill. Strange how fate works. I set out to destroy a king, and I died. But it also earned me a new life. How shall I call my new existence? Is this life? Or is this island just a dream? Purgatory, maybe. Avalon, the resting place of all the fallen knights. I don't really feel that I belong here. They tell me that Avalon used to be a charming place before I arrived here. If that's true, it has all truly gone to shit. What I'm still trying to understand is the nature of the powers that brought me here. People always thought me a heartless tyrant, but I always kept the interests of the realm in sight. Fear me, hate me, despise me, revere me, I don't care. All that matters is that the realm survives. Most of my fellow knights considered me a traitor when I moved against Arthur. They never understood that I wanted to save Britannia from him. You must have heard all sorts of tales about me. Some of that, I assure you, are nothing but exaggeration. Some of them, probably not. My reputation was always dire, I admit that. What can I say? I have never suffered fools easily. I am trying to resurrect the Round Table, but it will be mine. You really shouldn't compare it to Arthur's, or you'll be gravely disappointed. Look around you. You are still hoping to resurrect the old Avalon. Forget about this stupid dream, and embrace the nightmare. I know Avalon used to be a resting place for the knights and ladies of Britannia, but now it's a battlefield, and you really need to act like it. In Britannia, people called me a tyrant. Those fools. They had no idea what I was capable of. The rot in Avalon is the proof that the realm needs a ruler with an iron fist. Otherwise it will all fall apart. So far, Avalon has been a place for grand adventures and no consequences. Well, not anymore. Our duty is to protect Camelot. It doesn't matter if it is in the other world. Are you feeling lost and confused? Then focus on your duties to Camelot, and let it guide your way. Back in Britannia, they called me the Dread Knight. What will they call me in Avalon, I wonder? I must accept that my rebirth in Avalon has been slowly changing me, for better or worse. I don't know yet. I've fought my fair share of witches, wizards, and mad enchantresses in Britannia, But in Avalon, they seem to come in packs. This land has unlimited power, waiting to be shaped by the beliefs of the people. We could turn Avalon into a beacon of Christianity. We have temples and monasteries among the ancient shrines and sacred glades, but we need more. I have some great plans. I think we need cathedrals that will shine the true light into the murk of the pagan otherworld. In the villages and castles, true Christians are trembling with fear. I shall show them that with prayers and steel, we can be victorious even here. This island is the cradle of the old faith, and the lady has been using it to entertain fallen knights. What a waste. Avalon is seething with the magic of the old gods. It's time to use all that power to resurrect the old ways. I'm beginning to think that we need to pray more often in the sacred glades and converse with the spirits of the deep wood. Avalon is the fountain of the old faith, where magic was pure and untainted until Arthur came here. I want to restore the order of things here. For countless centuries, the Lady of the Lake has been guarding this place for the heroes of the old faith. I'm grateful for her service, but maybe she needs to retire now.